Hello and welcome to SCM This Week. My name is Beth Rennie and I'm Editor-in-Chief for ASCM, and I am joined by our CEO, Abe Eshkenazi. We've been doing these for about a month now, so I think we can probably jump right into the questions. So Abe, in your article last Friday, you talked about how experts have been predicting some shifting labor dynamics for many years now, largely because of new technologies that are really reshaping work and the workplace. But now it's actually being reshaped by a global pandemic. So as supply chains develop their workforces of the future, what practices and tools would you recommend to help them achieve a sustainable transformation?
Yeah, it's, as we discussed in the article, it does start first and foremost with talent. Most organizations would clearly identify their number one asset in their organization being their employees. So you need to have an ongoing commitment to your employees, not only on their safety, but their professional development. So we need to start to ensure that the employees have a safe and an appropriate workplace. Then you need to walk the talk, and that is organizations have consistently identified employees as a critical resource for their organization. You need to ensure that during hard times as well as in boom times that you are committed to your employees. Nothing destroys a relationship or a culture within an organization than a company that says we're committed to you, but then whether through a downturn or through a disruption such as the pandemic or a recession, that among the first things that are pulled back are professional development or the investment in employees. So we need to continue our investment in the talent. That really drives supply chains. To your point, though, supply chains were already in a transformation. Specifically, a lot of digital investments and transformation was occurring already in the marketplace. We started to see it with various investments in technological improvements. This is the time to accelerate your transformation, to be much more agile, to be much more responsive. And that is engaging your workforce on how you can efficiently and effectively respond, not only today, but in the long term. And that requires collaboration. A lot of the skills that we're seeing in supply chain professionals, they have the functional skills, they have the subject matter expertise. What employers are looking for is collaborative. A lot of opportunities that exist today require a collaboration across the enterprise. So that is bringing supply chain professionals with sustainability professionals, with your sales and operations management team to ensure that the solutions that are being developed today and implemented not only address the short term, but have a long-term view on the sustainability of the organization. But we need to start and always focus on the employees and making sure that you have a trained and capable workforce to execute on the strategies that you've developed.
Absolutely. Okay, so Abe, as supply chains plan for rebuilding and recovery, many industry professionals are exploring what worked and therefore should continue, and what didn't work and needs to be redesigned and rethought in order to prepare better for future unforeseen events. So what do you think are some key priorities to be optimized, and what elements must be adjusted to achieve a more resilient future?
That's, I think everybody's discussion right now is resiliency, and let's make sure that we define what resiliency means. And from our perspective, it's the ability of a supply chain to not only resist disruptions, but to recover after disruptions occur. Then we can identify a number of actions that organizations can take either prior or during. And that is first, invest and implement in your digital capabilities as we identified before. Those are significant agility opportunities for the organizations to be able to shift rapidly and respond to the changes either in supply or demand. Additionally, integrating risk management with your organizational planning. If you haven't developed a risk management playbook, this is the time to start. There is no better time for you to identify what the risks are associated with your organization and then taking the necessary corrective actions or what is planned to, for you to take the corrective action if these situations occur. Also developing in a more effective public-private collaboration. As we've seen in today's environment, the investments that are going to be required are going to not only be on the private enterprise, but they're going to be on the public side as well. So take a longer-term view on rebalancing your supply network and viewing your suppliers as partners. And so this is, again, with the public-private collaboration, not only from your partners, but looking for different ways to collaborate with your supply chain network. Always prepare and continuously update your risk management playbook. Focus in on global health and climate change as well. there are different types of disruptions. As we're seeing, rarely does the same disruption occur twice. And so therefore, your strategies and your disruption mitigation efforts need to address not only environmental, but also different types of disruptions in the marketplace, whether they be biohazard or cyber security issues. You need to have different responses to each of these types of disruptions, but knowing that no two will be alike, you need to be agile enough and responsive enough. And then lastly, enterprise sustainability obviously needs to be a focus on economics. I mean, financially viable organizations are critical to a well-functioning economy, but we need to make sure that we incorporate environmental as well as ethical standards for a sustainable future. This is critical for any organization to be sustainable, accountable, and responsible in the long run.
All right, and for our final question, in your article, you talked about how over these past few months, every organization has had to figure out new ways of working, whether it's the collaboration that you were talking about, managing people in distributed locations, embracing digital. These are all really suddenly becoming a reality. So how can supply chains help their people prepare for what comes next amid all this disruption, but particularly the emotional side of things, which is an important consideration as people's jobs continue to evolve?
Absolutely, Beth. Jobs were already changing, as we identified before, prior to the pandemic. We had a lot of investments in robotics, artificial intelligence, IoT. This is all with a focus on knowledge workers. The expectations for employees has increased dramatically. This has been accelerated by the disruption. The focus on investments in technology need to be matched with an investment in your talent. A focus on engaging your teams through a commitment of ongoing professional development. Encourage innovation from all parts of the organization. Develop career pathways for your employees. Show them that there are different opportunities within your company, as well as developing mentorship and internship programs so that you can start to seed the organization for the future and the workforce. This is a holistic approach to identifying your workforce as partners in your strategy. And supply chain is one of the critical elements for you to engage not only your employees in terms of the development, but in terms of the strategy as well as the implementation.
All right, well, thank you very much, Abe, and thanks to everyone who's watching. Please remember to check back next Tuesday for another SCM This Week.
Thanks, Beth. Stay safe and healthy.
Thanks, you too.